I've tested the Garmin Striker Vivid 5CV and the Lowrance Eagle 7. Both have their pros and cons, but one is definitely better than the other, so let's get into it. So we're gonna start with the smaller unit, the Garmin Striker Vivid 5CV. Now it comes in other sizes as well, up to a 9-inch screen, which the 9-inch screen also offers an option for a transducer with side view. So if you're looking for a little bit bigger unit, there are still options from Garmin in this series. So what I really like about this unit is the compactness and how simple it is to install. So I primarily fish from a kayak, which means I don't want a big, gigantic unit that I'm just gonna hit with my paddle, hit with my fishing rod, whatever the case may be. So I'm looking for something a little more compact. But I also tested this unit out on my grandpa's 16-foot bass tracker. And I've gotta say, it's too small for a big boat, at least up in the front like I was using it, because where I had it mounted on the floor, my eyes aren't good enough. I wear glasses for a reason, and it was harder to see. Now, a bigger screen would have been better, or closer to me would have been better, like in a kayak or a john boat or a canoe or something like that. So this compactness has its pros and cons in and of itself. I like it primarily for kayak fishing. In a bigger boat, not a great thing. The other thing that I really liked about it is how easy it is to install. Now, I think Garmin knocks it out of the park with giving you everything you need to install it pretty much anywhere you want to. So if you want to put it on your trolling motor, you can do that. If you want to put it at the stern, you can do that. And it's a really simple, straightforward process because it doesn't have a lot of fancy features that need all this extra wires, that need all this extra boxes like a live scope would, which is why I'm just a big fan of the simplicity and the thoroughness by giving you everything you need to install this unit. All right, so let's talk about a few of the features here of the Striker Vivid. You're gonna have your traditional sonar. You're also gonna have your down view, which is Garmin's down scan feature. I really like that you can also run them at the same time, so you can really see like the arches show up in traditional and those are fish. And then the down view is for, you know, seeing what's really on the bottom. So being able to run those side by side, even though it's kind of still a small screen for it, it's great just to get those two different feedbacks. The other really big thing that Garmin likes about this unit, and I like it, but I've got some reservations about it as well, is the quick draw contour mapping. So with this unit, you can drive over an area as long as quick draw contour is going. You have to turn that on and it will map the contours for you out like 20 foot on either side of the transducer, 10 foot, I can't remember exactly what it is. It's not a ton, but it's enough to, you know, give you an idea of the area. I like this because I like knowing the depth changes. But the downside is you've got to drive over the area a lot to have a really good contour map. So it also has a flasher feature, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I have no idea how to use a flasher. I think most guys use it for like ice fishing, and here in Oklahoma, we just don't have a lot of ice fishing opportunities, so I've never learned to use a flasher. But if that's you, if that's something you're looking into, it does have the flasher feature. And leave me a comment down below if you know how to use it, because I need some tips here. But overall, I do really like the Garmin Striker Vivid series. I like it better than the Striker series, which it's a step up in price and features, so makes sense. As my wife would say, of course you like the more expensive one, but I really think the 5-inch unit is just a little bit small for me. I would honestly step up to that 9-inch just to have the side view. Like, that's a game changer. And 9 inches still isn't too big for like fishing in my kayak and stuff. All right, let's move on to the Lowrance Eagle. This is a new series, but kind of a reboot in a way. They're paying homage to one of their older fish finders by bringing it back in a sense, but not really. So if you're a Lowrance user from way back when, this was before my time. I don't remember the Lowrance Eagle that they're referencing, but if you've used it for like decades and decades, you probably get the reference. I don't. I wasn't here for that. I'm sorry. But I've had the privilege of testing it out for several months now, and I've got to say I've been pretty impressed with it. There's a few things that I kind of nitpicked and I wasn't impressed with, but for the most part, I liked it. For starters, I like that 7 to 9 inch screen. 7 is sometimes a little small, but that 9-inch screen is great. And the Eagle series comes from 5 to 9. I believe it might go a step higher, but I don't believe so. And it offers all the features that you really need as a beginner to intermediate angler. So if you want your down scan, your side scan, your traditional and decent mapping, it's got it. But speaking of mapping, this is kind of where I didn't like it as much. Now I have a Lowrance hook reveal on my grandpa's boat, and I was really impressed with that mapping. So I expected these maps to be at least that good or even better. So that's my biggest pushback against this, when it's an upgrade to the hook reveal, but the maps really aren't. Now with that said, they did upgrade the sonar, they upgraded the screen resolution, and they used a higher quality screen, so you don't get that sun reflectiveness nearly as much as you do on the older models. I've also found it pretty easy to navigate. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. The buttons aren't too like push and guess, maybe this is what I want. They're pretty self-explanatory, so that's nice. But the other pushback that I have on it is actually the installation. Now to be fair, they really did design this to be mounted on the stern, and I wanted to mount it on the trolling motor, so they didn't send any brackets or any mounting equipment to mount on a trolling motor because they intended it to be mounted on the stern. So I get it, I'm being a little bit nitpicky here, but Garmin sent me everything I needed wherever I wanted to mount it. They didn't limit me to, you know, where they think I should mount it. So kind of like that better about the Garmin. And the other thing about the install process that I think Garmin does just a little bit better, and it's really just a tiny thing, but it stands out so much to me because it shows me that they're paying attention to the details. And Garmin already installs the fuse in line for you, so you don't got to worry about installing it and, you know, possibly doing it wrong, although it'd be really hard to do wrong. But Garmin eliminates that possibility, whereas Lowrance still requires you to put that on yourself. And that's my other really nitpicky thing. As far as the unit performance and everything, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it's hard for me to find much other negative things to say besides the mapping and the install process. As far as this unit goes, it does everything that I need it to do as a non-tournament angler. Now, if you're a tournament angler, it doesn't have enough features for you, so you're gonna have to look for a higher end model. So I promised you, which one do I think is actually better? And as far as comparing the units and how I fish, I would go with the Lowrance Eagle series, but I would step up to that 9-inch screen, and I would make sure that the transducer has side scan, because the transducer that they sent me does not have side scan capabilities. I'm not familiar with exactly what transducer it is, but when you buy it, make sure that it has side scan. Now, to be fair, the Garmin Striker Vivid series is a solid series, and I wouldn't hesitate to use it either. I just think that the Eagle series, number one, it's just a little bit newer, so it's got a little brighter screen. It's a little bit easier to see in the bright sun. So it's got just a step up, just really because it's newer, to be honest. And because it has real maps, not just you've got to make your own maps. Those things are why I do think that the Lowrance Eagle is still the better option. But I've also taken a deep dive in reviewing both of these units, and you can check out those videos down below me right now on each individual fish finder, and I can't wait to see you there.